Your life doesn't need years to change. Sometimes all it takes is one moment when you speak not just any words, but the right words. Words that carry intention, words that carry power. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the universe doesn't respond to empty repetition. It responds to words that are aligned with truth, belief, and spiritual law. Most people use affirmations like wishes, but Shinn believed that when you say the right words with conviction, you don't just hope for a better future, you activate it. These words aren't poetic decoration. They are spiritual tools, tuned to the same frequency the universe listens to. They carry a vibration that cuts through doubt and fear and aligns your mind with divine order. Today, you'll learn what those 3 words are, why they work, and how to use them so that life no longer happens to you, but begins unfolding through you. This is where the shift begins. Florence Scovel Shinn believed that words are not just sounds, they are power in motion. She taught that every word you speak is a vibration that moves through the invisible world and begins to shape the visible one. In her view, words are more than communication tools, they are creative commands. When you speak, you are not merely describing your life, you are directing it. Your word is your wand, she wrote, and she meant it quite literally. Words carry intention. They transmit energy, and they activate the laws that govern spiritual reality. According to Shinn, every time you speak, you are imprinting your subconscious mind, and the subconscious doesn't judge or filter, it simply obeys. If you say, "I'm always broke," or "nothing ever works out for me," your mind accepts that as a command. If you say, "I am aligned with divine abundance," or "everything is unfolding perfectly," your subconscious responds with the same neutrality. Only this time, the instruction supports your growth. This is why she warned so strongly against careless words, even spoken in jest. Because to the deeper parts of the mind, there's no such thing as a joke. Words go in, and they create patterns. Modern science supports much of what Shinn taught a century ago. Neuroscience shows that our brains are constantly reshaped by the language we use. This is called neuroplasticity. Every repeated phrase strengthens neural pathways, which means the more often you speak or think a certain idea, the more real and automatic it becomes in your experience. Words trigger emotional responses, hormonal shifts, and even behavioral patterns. Repeated affirmations, when spoken with emotion and belief, can calm the nervous system, reduce stress, and build resilience. The brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. What matters is repetition and emotional charge. In this way, words are like seeds. You may not see their effect right away, but the energy has already been set in motion. Say it often enough, and it becomes a belief. Believe it strongly enough, and it becomes your experience. Florence understood this with crystal clarity. That's why she urged people to become guardians of their speech, to stop speaking defeat into existence, and to start speaking life. She taught that the right words, when spoken with faith, are not just affirmations, they are agreements. Agreements between you and the universe about the kind of life you are choosing to live. In the context of affirmations, this becomes even more important. Affirmations are not just tools of motivation, they are blueprints for reality. They instruct the subconscious, tune your vibration, and set the tone for what you attract. When you repeat an affirmation, you are broadcasting a signal. And according to Shinn, that signal reaches the field of divine intelligence and begins rearranging circumstances in your favor. This is not wishful thinking, it is alignment. Words carry energy, and when you speak with intention, that energy begins to return to you, shaped by the force you've given it. Florence Scovel Shinn didn't offer vague affirmations or empty feel-good phrases. Her words were precise, spiritually charged, and deeply intentional. She believed that certain affirmations carried a specific vibration, one that aligned your consciousness with divine law and cleared the path for transformation. Among her most powerful teachings were 3 affirmations that continue to resonate today. These are not mantras to repeat without thought. They are tools for shifting energy, releasing fear, and inviting flow. The first is, "I cast this burden on the Christ within and go free." This phrase is meant for moments of fear, doubt, or emotional heaviness. Shinn taught that people often try to carry their struggles alone, attempting to solve problems through effort and worry. But in her worldview, that very effort blocks resolution. This affirmation is a declaration of surrender, not to defeat, but to higher intelligence. The Christ within was her way of describing the divine mind, the deeper self that already knows the perfect solution. By mentally handing over the burden, you create space for peace and clarity. Psychologically, this mirrors what therapists call cognitive reframing. You release the weight of a problem and allow a new perspective to emerge, one that isn't clouded by anxiety. The second affirmation is, Infinite Spirit, open the way for my perfect self-expression. This is a declaration for anyone feeling stuck, unclear, or out of alignment. Shinn believed that everyone had a unique purpose, a perfect self-expression, and that when you aligned with it, life would flow. This affirmation calls on the universal intelligence to clear the blocks, internal or external, and guide you into your rightful place. It's not a plea for a specific job or outcome. It's a request for alignment with what's already yours by right of consciousness. From a psychological perspective, this statement encourages trust in the unknown and reduces fear-based control. It shifts your mindset from forcing outcomes to allowing inspired action to arise. The third is, I have a perfect work, in a perfect way. I give perfect service for perfect pay. Shinn gave this affirmation to people struggling with money, work, or purpose. It's a complete declaration of faith in divine order across all aspects of one's vocation. Rather than begging for financial security or success, it affirms that the right work already exists and is being fulfilled through you now. This changes the way you think, speak, and act. You no longer move from desperation, you move from certainty. Neuroscience tells us that when you affirm something with emotional intensity and repeat it daily, you begin to feel and behave as if it were true. That shift in posture often creates the very conditions needed to make it real. Each of these affirmations is designed not just to soothe, but to reprogram. They redirect the energy of fear into the energy of faith. They move your focus from obstacles to possibilities. And most importantly, they speak directly to the subconscious, the part of the mind that governs habits, decisions, and expectations. When spoken consistently with belief, these three phrases don't just sound good. They begin to create a new mental atmosphere, one where peace, clarity, and success can finally take root. Using affirmations the way Florence Scovel Shinn intended is not about chanting empty words or checking a box in your morning routine. It's about cultivating presence, aligning with faith, and engaging the full power of your consciousness. Shinn emphasized that these words must be spoken with feeling, not as ritualistic repetition, but as declarations filled with energy. The mind and the heart must come together. This is why she often described the importance of stillness and faith before speaking the word. When you affirm something, you are not trying to convince the universe. You are aligning yourself with what already exists in divine mind. You are claiming your place in the flow of spiritual order. A simple way to begin is through morning practice. When you first wake up, your mind is in a highly suggestible state. The filter between your conscious and subconscious is thin. This is the perfect time to speak truth into your day. Find a quiet moment before you check your phone, before the world enters your space. Breathe deeply. Center yourself and speak one or more of the affirmations clearly and slowly. I cast this burden on the Christ within and go free. Or Infinite Spirit, open the way for my perfect self-expression. Don't just say it, feel it. Let the words settle into your body. Imagine what it would feel like if it were already true. That emotional charge is what gives your words power. If your mornings are rushed, find other windows of quiet, during a walk, in the shower, before sleep. Affirmations don't require hours, they require sincerity. Even one heartfelt minute is more effective than 30 minutes of distracted repetition. Shinn wrote that affirmations should be spoken as facts, not hopes. When you say, I have a perfect work, you are not begging for it, you are agreeing with it. You are creating mental acceptance, and through that acceptance, opening the way for it to appear. Throughout the day, listen to your inner dialogue. Catch the subtle statements that carry fear, limitation, or self-doubt. Shinn encouraged immediate correction. If you catch yourself thinking, I'll never figure this out, gently override it. My path is clear. The right ideas come to me now. This isn't denial, it's redirection. It's a conscious choice to tune your vibration to truth, not fear. And over time, that tuning becomes your new normal. Faith is essential. Without it, affirmations are just noise. But with it, they become a bridge between the invisible and the visible. Florence taught that faith isn't blind, it's bold. It says, even if I can't see the answer yet, I know it's already moving toward me. That knowing activates a shift. Your nervous system calms, your body relaxes, your decisions become clearer, your energy becomes magnetic. The more you practice, the more your mental atmosphere begins to change. You carry a different frequency, one of quiet confidence, expectancy, and inner peace. And just as Florence promised, when that inner vibration shifts, the outer world cannot remain the same. Affirmations are not about forcing outcomes. They're about creating alignment, inside first and then outside. With time, this practice becomes less about fixing life and more about flowing with it. And in that flow, miracles become natural. The reason these affirmations work isn't superstition, it's structure. Florence Scovel Shinn didn't claim that words magically rearrange the universe without your participation. She taught that affirmations realign your inner world so powerfully that your outer world has no choice but to follow. When you speak truth repeatedly, you begin to believe it. And when you believe it, you behave differently. That shift, thought to feeling, feeling to action, is what opens doors. What once felt unreachable becomes possible and then inevitable. Shinn shared many stories in her writings of people who experienced dramatic change through simple, spoken words. One woman, burdened with anxiety over money, began affirming daily, "God is my supply. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace." She kept affirming it with faith, even when nothing seemed to be happening. Weeks later, she received an unexpected inheritance, more than enough to pay off her debts and start fresh. But more important than the money was the peace she gained. Her internal relationship with fear changed, and so did the rhythm of her life. Another man, unable to find meaningful work, began using the phrase, "Infinite Spirit, open the way for my perfect self-expression." At first it felt like fantasy, but as he repeated it, something shifted. He started saying no to jobs that didn't align, trusting that something better was coming. Within a month, he was offered a position that combined his passion with purpose, something he'd never thought possible. These are not fairy tales. They are moments of inner permission, where belief finally makes room for something new to arrive. Science now supports much of what Florence taught through spiritual insight. Psychologists call it the self-fulfilling prophecy. When you believe something is true, your mind unconsciously looks for evidence to support it. You notice new opportunities, you take different actions, you project a different energy. And as neuroscience shows, repetition of thought literally reprograms the brain. Affirmations activate the brain's reward centers, reduce stress, and increase emotional regulation. With consistent use, they change the neural pathways associated with self-perception and possibility. What begins as words becomes a mental blueprint, one your subconscious then uses to build your experience of reality. Transformation happens not through force, but through frequency. The more consistently you speak the truth of who you really are, free, supported, guided, the more your reality begins to reflect it. You don't need to fix the world. You need to tune your mind. That's what Florence believed, and it's what thousands have experienced since. These 3 affirmations are more than just sentences. They are living instruments. Speak them with faith, repeat them with feeling, and let your life respond. Because when you change the words you speak, you change the world you live in. Dear friends, if you liked this video, please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you soon.